Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and as of the time of this video coming out, we are officially less than a week from Nintendo fully pulling back the curtain on the Switch 2, including specifications, probably release date, price, and most importantly in my opinion, the games. Now, we do know, of course, that they're going to talk about what I assume is called Mario Kart 9. Hopefully they'll talk about the next 3D Mario game. I'm gunning that at kind of like a 80-20 on that showing up. But we'll more than likely see a lot of third-party ports that are going to get Switch 2 announcements and maybe a few surprises in the mix. But before all that happens next week, I wanted to just come here and talk to you all, give kind of like a mini ode to the original Nintendo Switch, because while the Nintendo Switch has its problems, it has an obvious list of problems, you know, battery life, Joy-Con drift, the fact that Nintendo never released a hardware update for it, so a lot of the newer games run like crap on the Switch at a subpar 30 frames. The Switch, in my opinion, is one of my favorite consoles ever. And I say this as somebody who for a long time was outside of Nintendo's orbit, especially during the Wii and Wii U era. And the Switch was my way back in to Nintendo's, I guess, flock, so to speak, because the Switch converted me from somebody who was just kind of about Nintendo for a long time, especially since I'm not really a huge fan of the motion controlled stuff that they tried doing with the Wii and the Wii U and the games library. While they obviously have some classics in the Wii and Wii U catalog, it didn't really grab me. I never really felt a big desire to pick up a Wii or a Wii U compared to obviously like a PlayStation 3 or 4 and whatnot. Let's take it back to the beginning. So when they first announced the Switch, I thought the basic pitch of it was brilliant. It was a home console that transforms into a portable device. Simple, elegant concepts. You don't need gigantic amounts of spreadsheets and infographics and pictures to explain the core concept. Some of the best ideas out there for some of the best products are very simple and to the point. And the Switch had one of those very simple yet easy to understand ideas. That was one of the big major problems of the Wii U, where I remember when the Wii U was first announced and they showed off the video of it at E3 that one year. I remember looking at it and thinking, oh, is this an accessory to the Wii or what is this? Because it's Wii U. It wasn't called the Wii 2 or the Super Wii. It's called Wii U. What the hell does the U stand for? The Wii U at a first glance just looked like an accessory to the Wii, not the next console after the Wii. But Switch? Hey, the name's different. And you know, when you look at the Wii U, what is the thing that is going to differentiate? What is the hook to the Wii U? With the Switch, Nintendo just basically made a case for itself by saying, especially with how successful the DS and 3DS were, they made a very interesting pitch of going, hey, here is a home console that is also a portable device. And it was just a very simple method. You didn't have to do any weirdo shit to turn the hybrid model into from a console to a portable and then a portable to a console or back and forth. Very simple. I think that first trailer for the Switch, beyond the song that plays during it and some of the dialogue later on between some of the people in the trailer, there was not a single line of dialogue that explained what the Switch was. especially in the first half of that video, it was all visual. You just look at it, you see some asshole sitting on his couch playing Breath of the Wild, and then he goes, oh, I'm gonna go take my dog to the park and neglect my dog at the park while I sit on my stupid ass and play a game. What does he do? He doesn't transfer his data to another tablet or any crap like that. All he does is just take the Joy-Cons off the controller, snap them in, take the screen off. That's it. Game transfers to that screen and everything. Beautiful, elegant, simple concept. And right away, that hooked me on what the Switch was gonna be. That and that moment, I was very interested to see. And it didn't have this emphasis on all this gimmicky bullshit during the video. All it showed was just, again, the simple premise of turning home console, portable, home console, back and forth. Very simple, took like a few seconds to do. And it was all focused on fun. It was all focused on, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with my homies at a basketball court, and I'm gonna, instead of playing fucking basketball, I'm just gonna bring NBA 2K, whatever the hell year it was, 16, 17, and we're gonna play. Oh, I'm on a plane. I don't have internet access. Oh, but look, I have my Switch. It's got Skyrim on it. The 50 millionth port of Skyrim. It's on the Switch. I'm gonna play it. Simple concept. Brilliant execution. Amazing. But I must admit, there was a bump in the road leading up to the Switch, because they had that awful in-person event before the Switch came out, where they showed off things like the final trailer for Breath of the Wild, where they were announced that was going to be a launch game with the Switch. And then they did the little teaser for No More Heroes successor. They showed off Super Mario Odyssey for the first time. But it was a horrible event. It was just really, really bad. Where, again, this is a weakness that Nintendo has, is that they went out on stage, and this once and for all proved that Nintendo should not be doing in-person events. Strictly directs, it's all they should be doing. Don't do any more in-person events. Just stick to hiding behind perfectly curated, filmed videos with a script. That's fine. Do that. Because when they did this in-person event, you had one of the guys from Nintendo, I remember this, he was sitting on a couch on the stage trying to be like, oh, look, you can take the Joy-Cons, and if you want to just lay your fucking ass on the couch, you can do that. They literally brought out like a chair or a couch on stage, and this guy just flopped on it. And it's like, dude, just show me the damn game. I don't care that you could flop your ass on a couch to play with the Joy-Cons, and like, I was fine figuring that out on my own when I got my hands on the Switch. And that is a really cool thing. But when I'm there to see the games, when I'm there to kind of be like, hey, what am I going to play on this thing? I don't want to see some executive demonstrating how you can move the Joy-Cons around and whatever. I don't need to see, oh, look, it has the physics of ice cubes. You remember this? Where they did, oh, you can have the dynamic sensors in the Switch, and it will tell you in the Joy-Con the exact weight and number of ice cubes that it could simulate the feeling of. It's like, who cares? Who gives a shit about this? Show me the games! Show me the games! Show me Odyssey! Show me Breath of the Wild. I don't care about how many fucking ice cubes you can fit into a damn Joy-Con. I don't give a shit. Thankfully, this did not end up shooting themselves in the foot, and it went on to be, a number of years later, it is a megalith company-saving product. I mean, it really goes without saying that the Switch, I don't know if exactly if Nintendo needed to be saved, in quote, after the Wii U, but the Switch has pushed Nintendo to an unprecedented level of fame and power within the video game industry, where the Switch has been so influential, especially in handheld markets like Japan. Like, Japan, they might as well rename that country Nintendo Land. No other console, I'm sorry, PlayStation, I know you're trying, I appreciate that, I want you to keep trying. Japan is Nintendo Land, okay? You look at the physical sales in that country, like each year, each month, each week, Nintendo. You're always gonna see Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and the top physical sales. You're always gonna see like fucking Pokemon and Animal Crossing and whatnot. Just, it's the way of the world. More importantly, at least for me personally, the Switch like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it brought me back into the fold, where there was a number of years where I did not give a fuck about Nintendo outside of a few games that came out, like the latest Zeldas or the latest 3D Marios, and maybe a handful of other things that came out that were available exclusively on the Wii or the Wii U, like Bayonetta 2 or something else like Mad World that was only available on the Wii from Platinum. Other than that, couldn't give less of a shit. Especially when that was the Wii and the Wii U was during a time where I was like all in on PlayStation at that point. Where I was like, oh, PS3, I'm on that. PS4, I'm on that. PS2, I'm still on that. 360, hanging out with the boys after school, playing Halo and Gears. Could not give a fuck about the Wii. And I was also a gigantic asshole at the time, where I made fun of people who embraced Nintendo. This video acts as a formal apology to Richard, who I made fun of Richard for many, many years for hyping up Nintendo and being like, hey, I appreciate what Nintendo does. Nintendo does gaming the best. And I'm gonna have to bend the knee to Richard and say, fuck, all these years later, I am completely in agreement with him that Nintendo they got it. Because they had really talented, smart people at the core of their organization, they were able to see a long time ago that a race that this like power graphics arms race that Xbox and PlayStation were doing at the time, it was going to hit a ceiling at some point and it was going to cause problems. So what did Nintendo do instead? They prioritized art design, they prioritized gameplay mechanics, they prioritized level design. Nintendo has never been a major graphics powerhouse, and all these years later, I can confidently say and argue that they do not need to be. Because you look at the fucking Switch, where that thing can run games like it's a toaster, and it is a megalithic success. Second only to the PlayStation 2. It is the most successful console in the history of gaming. And that's with it being on the market for 8 years now, which is incredible. I think what I love the most about Nintendo, the Switch for me, is that I have grown to be very fond of portable gaming again. And the Switch is a big reason for that. Like I make fun of people who aren't willing to sit in front of their TV and play a video game, who feel like, oh, I need that little extra bit of comfort. I need to go out to my living room or do whatever, or hang around the house. I make fun of people for doing that, but goddamn, is it not cool as hell to sit in my big chair in the living room and get lost in something on the Switch. To sit there and play Mario Odyssey when it came out for hours on end. To sit there in my chair and play Animal Crossing each morning for almost every morning for 5 years at this point. To play Balatro, rounds of Balatro ever since I got that in my chair. I mean, I love the Switch. I love what it does. And even though it has its problems, like I said, it is a magnificent console. Just because of how simple and easy it is to understand, the now amazing library of games that it has. I mean, you look at that fucking library. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Odyssey, Smash Ultimate. I mean, it's got an enormous list of good shit on the Switch now. And that's just from first party. Because these days, if you're an indie studio and you want to have a really good shot at making a lot of money on an indie project, two things you gotta release on: PC and the Switch. If it can graphically handle it, what you're doing, you put that fucking game on the Switch. Especially if it's a low demanding indie game. I owned Stardew Valley for years on PC. Soon as it was available on Switch, oh yeah, I'm buying that on Switch. Balatro, I ain't playing that on PlayStation. I ain't playing that on PC. I'm playing that on Switch. I mean, and there's Sea of Stars, when that came out, I could have played that on Game Pass when I had Game Pass at the time. Nope, I want to play that on Switch. I love the Switch. The Nintendo did amazing things with the Switch. When the Switch can even impress my mom who does not give a fuck about video games except in very rare instances. When even my mom texts me and asks me about the Switch 2, man, what an accomplishment. Not even PlayStation has been able to do that in the fucking like 25 years that I've been in PlayStation's orbit. Couldn't give less of a shit about PlayStation. But the Switch 2? She wants to know. She wants to know what's going on with the Switch 2. That's impressive. That is very impressive for Nintendo. Hopefully the Switch 2, when it comes out swinging next week, it impresses me. But even if the presentation ends up sucking, if the presentation is literally just a JPEG of them going, hey, here's the date, here's the price, we're doing Mario Kart 9 and we're doing Metroid Prime 4, 60 frames, I'm in. I'm in. I know it's not going to be that, but I'm in, because I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Nintendo does, because, as I've said throughout this video, I fucking love the Nintendo Switch. So, anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next week for what will hopefully be a very compelling Nintendo Switch 2 presentation. But until then, have a good one, everyone. Take care.